What's up, guys, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. The market tanked today. In this video, we're going to be going over the most important news to know right now and some of the best plays to watch for tomorrow. We have a ton of great info today, and we have a lot to cover because the market is all over the place, and it's tanking pretty hard today. So make sure you guys stick around to the end. But Tom, let's get right into it.
Yeah, for sure. The SPY actually had a pretty big sell-off today, falling all the way down to 438 at close. The end of the day was particularly worse than the beginning. And man, you can see at the end of the day, the sell-off was getting pretty drastic. We even have the IV starting to pop up on the SPY as well. The VXX is up 6.8%. The VIX index ended up rising 18.2% to close the day, which is pretty big there after having a pretty big day yesterday too. So really just looking at the market, man, the SPY and the overall market's coming down. There's a lot of news that came out today. We had the minutes from the July Federal Reserve meeting come out. We also have news with the Taliban blocking Afghans from reaching the Kabul airport. I have a pretty big feeling that that played a big role in the market falling today. And then we have news with the U.S. Saying that they're going to start distributing booster shots, saying that the vaccine protection wears off over time, according to some new data. So a lot of interesting stuff to cover. But the first thing with the July minutes, man, there's a lot of interesting stuff here. They're talking about kind of reducing the asset purchasing programs before the end of this year, but they are kind of saying that there's no link between tapering and potential interest rate hikes. So they're not really saying that they're going to like raise interest rates or anything based off of this, off of cutting their asset purchases down a little bit. But in the end, it's just pretty bad. You know, some members were expressing concerns over inflation and stuff. CNBC made the report and, you know, it came out and it did end up making the market go down. You know, this might not be the sole news. Maybe some of this Afghanistan news we'll talk about in a minute made the market fall too, but it seems like it's definitely part of the problem.
For sure. So we saw a lot of selling pressure today, and I know that there's definitely some people out there saying, all right, well, the market's tanking. What can I buy that's going to go up right now? And if you want to kind of short the market, there's a couple different routes you can take. If you kind of want to short the market, you can buy the VXX. Note that this is an extremely volatile ETF. It goes up and down quite a lot, but historically it does like to rise when the market is uncertain or especially when it falls. Another route to take is SPXS. This is also a leveraged ETF. This stock goes up when the S&P 500 goes down, and it basically does the opposite in times 3. So, for example, if the S&P 500 or the SPY is down 1%, this stock will be up around 3% usually. So those are the two main ways. Of course, you can buy like SPY puts and stuff like that, but I would say VXX and then SPXS normally rise when the market falls. But Tom, tell us more about what's going on in Afghanistan and, you know, the airport right now.
Yeah, apparently the Taliban was blocking Afghans from reaching the airport. And, you know, there's a lot of news sites reporting this. CNBC is just reporting that the U.S. cannot ensure a safe passage for these guys. So, you know, it's a pretty bad thing. You know, people are trying to obviously flee the country to get over to the U.S. or at least to some other countries. But, you know, they're having some problems kind of getting across or getting to the airport. You know, the Taliban's kind of blocking the roads, you know, not letting them cross. I've heard there's been beatings. You know, obviously people have unfortunately, you know, died on these routes to the airport and stuff like that. So there's a lot of bad stuff going on right now, obviously in Afghanistan. And I think that's obviously playing a big role in this downturn in the market. You know, I would personally think that this is one of the main reasons why the market's going down, even more than the minutes that came out today or more than like some COVID news or anything. I think it's definitely you know, this type of news causing the market to fall. And then also, you know, people just taking profits. You know, the market's at all-time highs and we have a crazy event going on. And we haven't had an event with war really since the beginning of Trump's presidency. So there hasn't really been too much, you know, news as far as like war or anything crazy like that. And it's just really catching the market off guard right now. And it's definitely unfortunate though. You know, a lot of people are you know, really trying to flee that country right now. And it's just unfortunate because I feel like a lot of people are going to get stuck there. And, you know, we were there for a long time and we just left like, you know, pretty abruptly and just kind of like let them take over. And, you know, I'm sure a lot of people are, we're pretty reliant on us, you know, being there. And I'm sure now, you know, there might be a lot of a lot of problems for a lot of people. So we'll have to see what ends up going on. But, hopefully something can end up getting resolved. But I would expect some more volatile news to come out over the next few days.
For sure. So I think the biggest reason the market's falling, like Tom says, the Afghanistan catalyst definitely plays a role, and then also the Fed minutes does too. But I think it's just as simple as investors de-risking themselves. The market is so high right now, and I just think some people are taking profits, and there's nothing wrong with that. And then Tom, tell us more about these booster shots, because I know Pfizer and Moderna have been exploding over the past couple months.
Yeah, Pfizer actually was doing awesome this morning and then had a huge turnaround. But there was some news that CNBC reported today that says that the United States will begin widely distributing COVID-19 booster shots next month as new data shows that vaccine protection wanes over time. Top U.S. health officials announced Wednesday. And this could help vaccine stocks, of course, like Moderna, Pfizer, and more, just because of the simple fact of that, more vaccines have to get out. So obviously more shots are needed. So of course, Pfizer, Moderna, and a couple of these other companies are going to be selling more shots, of course, with this happening. But man, this is kind of weird news. A lot of people have already went out and got vaccinated. They got the first shot, or that, I think it was the Pfizer shot or the Johnson & Johnson. One of them was just the single shot, but a lot of people got the double shot, the double dose one. And now it looks like they might have to get possibly a third shot, or, get another one. Obviously, they're saying that the protection actually goes away over time, apparently. So we'll have to see how this ends up playing out. But if this is like a thing where you have to get a shot every year, kind of like the flu vaccine, I think it's going to be a pretty, I'm not going to say like a bad thing. It's not like it's going to necessarily like ruin anyone's life or anything like that, but it's definitely going to be just a very big inconvenience.
All right, so Tom, let's get right into our member of the day. Today's member of the day is Raphael I. Huge shout out, Raphael. You're a great member, and thank you so much for the YouTube comments. They really help us grow our channel, and thank you so much for all of your positivity. But Tom, let's get right into these momentum plays. And with the first one, we have AMD to the downside.
Yep. And with AMD, they actually had a pretty big sell off today. And Mike, I know we talked about this being a dead cat bounce for a few days, but go ahead and make them fall right below 103 even. That's where they were at the end of the day. And watch for them to fall down towards that $100 resist or support.
All right. And then with the next one, we have Target to the downside.
Yep. Another one falling down pretty drastically. Make them fall below, I would say make them fall below 246.50.
All right. And with the last one, we have Apple to the downside.
Yep, and this play was actually awesome today, Mike. The hybrid play really came in clutch with this one, but go ahead and make Apple fall below 146.
You know it. So we are watching these three plays for potential day trades tomorrow to the downside, only if they break below the levels Tom listed. But let's take a look at that hybrid play today, Tom. So the bot called out the Apple 150 strike puts for around $170 each this morning. And then by the end of the day, those same puts that were called out for $170 each were worth $410. So if you want plays like this every single day, you can click that first link in the description down below. Of course, not every single play is like this, but in general, the bot's been on fire. You'll also get access to daily swing trades, day trades, a bunch of custom bots, and you can talk with Tom and myself all day long, and you can cancel at any time. So if you just want to try it out for a month, it's that first link in the description down below, and the bot's been doing pretty well lately. So definitely check it out. But now let's get right into the unusual options activity for this week. We are looking at the UPST 220 strike calls that expired this Friday. There's around $14 million put into these, and I'm definitely going to say that the smart money is shorting these calls because they are weeklies, they are pretty far out of the money, and UPST is pretty overextended.
Yeah, it's hard saying, UPST actually popped up here at the end of the day. I would say they're shorting them too, though. 220 seems like a pretty solid level here for Upstart. And just looking at it, that's a lot of money by the end of this week. So I would say they're shorting it, especially if they entered that position today. And like looking at the max daily chart, they're getting like quite a ways above $200. So I would definitely look for it. They had a pretty solid bounce at 220, and they are up here in after hours, but it's not like super drastic or anything. So don't take it too they're not like flying up to all-time highs or anything yet. I think that this candle on the 15-minute is kind of a weird print. Whenever I go to the 1 minute, it kind of prints a little bit more realistically. So looking at it, I would say that they're shorting it also.
Good stuff. So let's get right into these comments. With the first comment, we have Sean saying, got any long-term MJ stocks for leaps or shares? Thanks and great video. So I mean, I'm looking at like Tilray and like CRON, but honestly, I think the best way to go would just be through an ETF like MJ or like THCX. It's a little bit more diversified, and like honestly, I haven't found an MJ stock that has like great fundamentals or anything like that. So like I'm just mainly focused on MJ and then Tilray. Tom, what do you think?
Yeah, I like those ones too. Tilray and MJ are also pretty good. I like that other one that we talk about sometimes, PLNHF. I kind of like them too. You know, they've been falling down though with the other one. So it just seems right. It seems that like right now the whole sector's kind of been just going down lately. So just watch for them to possibly bounce off support. But I think shares of Tilray, PLNHF, and like you said, Mike, MJ is probably going to be the best way to go out of everything.
All right, and then we have Raphael saying, thanks for the update. What are your guys' thoughts on the Pfizer 50 strike call options for this Friday and next Friday? The volume looks crazy. Thanks again. So I know that Pfizer's really been running, but in my opinion, this one's kind of like a ticking time bomb. You know, it's running up with a ton of momentum. It might finish up today or, tomorrow or maybe even on Monday. Who knows for sure, but I think we're in for a pretty big pullback soon. And in a way, it kind of reminds me about Moderna. I know a lot of people got trapped like buying call options on this one when it was already up so much. And I feel like Pfizer is in a very similar setup. So to be honest, I'm kind of bearish.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm bearish as well. You know, today it was running up this morning and it was seeming pretty hot, but you know, whenever it runs up for just, you know, as many days as Pfizer's been running up to all-time highs, and they're actually breaking their highs from like the early 2000s. Man, my chart really messed up there, but but they're breaking their highs from the early 2000s, and it's pretty cool to see that they're doing that. But at the same time, they've just been running up so much that they have to come down at some point. And I think today was kind of the start of that, and it was a pretty bad downturn they had today. Actually, you know, breaking the low of this morning and falling all the way, you know, almost to the start of yesterday.
All right, and then we have Rara saying, Kathy Wood for sure. Thanks for the daily videos. Thoughts on GLD for the short term? So this is a great question, and it's very hard to answer actually. So GLD is in like a point right now where, you know, I really like it for like the next couple, like, you know, maybe like the next 8 to 12 months or so, maybe the next couple years. But in the short term, it's just like all over the place. I know it wasn't like huge news or anything like that, but I know Palantir bought around like $50 million worth of gold bars lately, which is good. I mean, like I said, it's not crazy news or anything like that, but I mean, honestly, I'm just neutral on it for the short term, but definitely bullish for the long term.
Yeah, same here. I'm more bullish for the long term, and in the short term, I think it could start to go either way. So like Mike said, more of neutral in the short term, but definitely for the long term, I think it'll end up going up as well. And you know, I think getting like leaps that are a couple years out and stuff on gold will end up being a pretty good play. And you know, one other thing to keep in mind is that gold, silver, and you know, copper and stuff. A lot of these things are used in electronics actually, and it's really they're really conductive of electricity and stuff. So they're used a lot in a lot of these newer technologies and stuff. So that's a plus for it too in the longer term.
All right, and then we have Darius saying, Mike and Tom, you guys are doing a great job. Thank you. Any chance you could cover ORTX? So thanks for that comment. We appreciate it. To be completely honest with you, I'm not a fan of ORTX. The chart just looks brutal. There's a ton of selling pressure with it, and you know, ever since it like IPO'd, it's just been making lower and lower highs and lower lows. So I'm not a fan.
Yeah, I don't think I'm a fan either. It's looking just, you know, pretty bad in the short term. Unfortunately, it just keeps breaking these resistances to the downside. It's just not a good not good chart movement, you know, bad off of technicals too. So that's my only problem with it. They could have something come out, you know, like an FDA approval or, you know, and something crazy like that if you're looking at their fundamentals, and then they could start to pop up. So, you know, if you see something like that, it could be a good play. But man, I'll just say though, like for the longer term, it doesn't seem very very good. And look at the long term, like they were at $20 a share just a year or two ago, and now they're all the way down to $2. That's pretty bad movement.
All right, so Tom, do you have any last minute stocks or anything you're watching for tomorrow?
Man, I'm still going to have my eye on AMD to the downside. They really have been moving pretty drastically down. I think that they could come down and hit $100 pretty easily, kind of like what we talked about with our momentum plays. Looks like they actually continued down in after hours after we were talking about it, and they're getting a little volatile. So we'll have to see what ends up going on with that. Definitely have my eyes on the VXX right now. The market really tanked off today at the end of the day. With all this Afghanistan news going on, I would not be surprised to see the market keep going down. Looks like the SPY is actually continuing to go lower here in after hours. So it's getting really crazy. Watch out for more black swan events, more Afghanistan news, and just be really careful in the market right now. You could have a great stock, but it could just get drugged down because of the overall market. So just be really careful. I think right now is obviously a time for like newer traders to kind of, sit on the sidelines, or if anything, just grab some shares of VXX or maybe SPXS, XPXS, and it could do pretty good.
There we go. So, yeah, guys, if you are new to trading, or don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We post brand new videos every single day. And don't forget, if you want to trade with Tom, myself, and our bots, you can click that first link in the description down below. The bot had an amazing trade today, called out the puts at $170 each, and they ran all the way up to $410. You can cancel at any time. Daily option swing trades, day trades, and you can talk with Tom and myself all day long. So definitely check it out. But other than that, thanks for watching.